What is up, guys? Thanks for tuning into the Three Peaks Fitness Podcast. I'm Coach Mark.
I'm Coach Lynette.
And today we're going to talk about protein and more specifically, how much protein you need to be eating.
Right. Now, if you've already heard a ton about protein, don't turn off this podcast.
Yes. We're gonna blow some minds here.
Yeah,
right? I think a lot of people are gonna be really.
We're gonna make this easy.
Yeah.
After this, you'll be able to easily get enough protein.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yeah. So Lynette, this is your wheelhouse. You're the nutrition nerd, so to speak. So let's start off. What is protein? Right. First off, like I think a lot of people, when they think of protein, they just think of, oh, I need protein to build muscle. Right. Like I think that's just sort of the common thought process for a lot of people, but it's a lot more involved than that. So what is protein? Break it down for us.
Protein is an amino acid, right? And it is everything in your body is made out of protein. Every single cell in your body has protein in it. And your bones, most people think of their bones as, oh, they're made of calcium. No, they're actually made out of protein, like you would build a house out of protein or out of 2x4s, and then the calcium fills in all the cracks. So the protein is the structure, and the calcium fills in the cracks.
Interesting.
So that's just one example, right?
Yeah.
Another thing is, like, we're always talking about neurotransmitters. Mental health is a big topic right now in the country. You're always talking about, well, we need good serotonin and, all these happy neurotransmitters in your body. Those are made out of proteins. So it's
okay.
So you are what you eat.
Yeah.
So you need a lot of protein to be happy, healthy, and thriving.
Yeah.
So here's the problem. A lot of the advice on the websites, I went to a lot of websites to see, well, what are people learning when they search proteins? And a lot of the websites are telling you to eat 0.8 grams of protein for every kilogram of weight, right? And so, like, that's where people get lost. They're like, I don't want to count. I don't want to do numbers. What's kilograms? What's a pound? And then they'll transfer it to pounds, and it's like, still the grams will just kind of overwhelm people. But that is not enough, right? So people generally are saying, okay, for a 150-pound person, you need, maybe 40 or 50 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
But that's just enough to survive. So you don't need a ton of protein to survive, but in order to thrive, you actually need a lot of protein. So there's a huge range there.
Okay.
So if you're only getting 40 or 50 grams a day, what does that look like? That looks like some milk in the morning, maybe a couple of eggs, maybe 3 or 4 ounces of chicken at lunch, and then maybe a little something at dinner.
Yeah.
That's about 50 grams there. So you need way more than that. You need like 2 or 3 times that amount.
Yeah.
Per person.
That's so interesting, and something to think about too is you can food items that maybe aren't designated as protein food items still have protein in them.
Yes.
So you could very easily, if you weren't really paying attention, you could still hit 50 grams of protein without eating any protein dense food. It's such a low number to hit.
Yeah, most foods have 2 or 3 grams of protein in them. And then here's the thing that frustrates me with the marketing is you'll go through the grocery store and that jar of peanut butter will say 8 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Or that little bag of almonds will say great source of protein.
Yep.
And it just really frustrates me because in order to get the amount of protein you need, you'd have to eat a whole jar of peanut butter, right? And then you're getting way more saturated fat than you need.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I love peanut butter. I got nothing wrong with it, but you shouldn't be eating more than a couple of tablespoons in a day. Right. So don't rely on nuts or dry beans for your protein. There's bonus protein in them, but that's not a protein dominant food. Even though the front of the package says protein on it, they could put anything they want on the front of the package. There's no laws against. They could say this will cure cancer, and there'd be no law against it.
Yeah.
So don't rely on what's written on the front of the package.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I want to go back to what you said about the dominant, right? Like, so you have the three macronutrients, right? Protein, fats, carbs.
Yeah.
I think a good way for people to understand what makes a food item, protein dominant, or carb dominant, or fat dominant.
Yeah.
It's really simple. It's just how many of the calories in, a serving of that food come from the specific macronutrients in that food, right? So peanut butter, for example, has, I don't know, like 16 grams of fat per serving, right? And then if it has sugar, depending on the type of peanut butter, let's just say you're going more natural. So let's say 2 grams of sugar, right? And then 8 grams of protein. Okay. So that 16 grams of fat times 9, because 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. That's a majority of the calories that you're getting from fat from the peanut butter.
Yeah.
Whereas carbs and protein are only 4 calories per gram. So that's kind of a good way to look at it and think, this says great source of protein, but I also see that it has 12 grams of fat in it and 27 grams of carbs. So, where is most of that nutrition actually coming from?
Yeah, that's the thing that I have to work with clients on a lot. When they first start working with me, they're like, oh yeah, I get my protein, I eat nuts, and I eat some pinto beans, and I'm like, well, the beans are actually carb dominant. They have like 54 grams of carbs to every 6 or 7 grams of protein.
Right.
So yes, I'm a fan of beans. They have a lot of vitamins and they're a great source of protein and carbs, but it is carb dominant. So just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Don't rely on that for all your protein.
Right.
So protein dominant foods.
Protein dominant foods. That. Yeah. And so we don't want to get too sciencey here. So if I'm someone who wants to have a number that I'm shooting for, and that's just kind of like how my brain works. I need to know, this is the number of grams of protein that I'm getting to each day. Like, that's all well and good. You can, shoot for that number, anywhere from 1.4 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight, or we're in America, so
1 gram per 1 pound.
Yeah, just kind of shoot for like 1 gram, per pound of your goal weight, right? So if I want to, if I weigh, 200 pounds and I want to weigh 150 pounds, just shoot for 150 grams a day.
Yeah.
But as we know as trainers, that's not always sustainable. It might work for a little bit and help, kind of build the right habits, bring awareness to what you're eating, but that's not sustainable. What is a good method for most of us that are just too busy and stressed out to even think about counting or weighing food or anything like that? What's a good strategy we can use to help us get our protein in?
A lot of the problems that people run into is, by the end of the day, you can't remember what you had for breakfast. Mm-hmm. So what I tell people to do, and this works for me too, is just go per meal. Just think 1 meal at a time, 1 snack at a time. So breakfast, 30 grams. Lunch, 30 grams. Mm-hmm. Dinner, 30. Just pick a number and just hit that at every meal. Even if you're eating out, even if you're, whatever you're eating, just hit that number. So maybe go somewhere between 30 and 50 grams a meal. And that's going to look like a large chicken breast is going to have about 50 grams in it. And a fish is my favorite.
Fish is good, yeah.
Yeah, because it has it has essential, we didn't even talk about that. We have the essential amino acids in it. So fish is a great source of protein. It's very high in protein and has the essential amino acids in it. Mm-hmm. So that's really good if you can deal with fish. Not everyone's a fish person.
Yeah,
you can get yourself to eat some fish every week. It's very beneficial. Mm-hmm. So just think per meal. And then a quick note about eggs. Eggs are a great source of protein. Egg whites have leucine in them, which I love. It's one of the highest quality proteins out there. But just don't eat all the yolks. I love yolks. They have lots of vitamins in them. But if you're trying to get all your protein from eggs, you're going to remove some of the yolks.
Yeah, because the yolks make it a fat dominant. Yeah, a fat dominant food. The whites are all protein. The yolks have all the fat.
Right.
All the fat
So yolks are not bad.
Yeah.
We don't use that label for them because it's important that you have 1 or 2 egg yolks a day.
Yeah.
But if you need 6 or 7 eggs, then you want to remove most of those yolks.
Right.
Or be lazy like me and just get a carton of egg whites.
Yeah. Okay, so shooting for a number per meal could be good. What if we wanted to break it down even simpler, right? What if I don't even want to think, I don't want to have to
numbers.
think about numbers. Like,
Okay.
I'm not a numbers person. I'm an artist, free spirit. I don't care about it. Like, what strategy can I use to like help?
This is
help
when
me?
you use your hands.
Okay.
Use your hands. So for me, for every person, your hand is a really good judge of how much you should eat, because every person's hand is, proportioned to their weight and their size and their nutritional needs. So the palm of my hand is equivalent to about 20 grams of protein. And so for me, since I'm more active, I eat like a palm and a half to 2 palms per meal.
Okay.
But, most women could probably just go with 1 palm per meal to start out with. But as you get skilled and as you realize, oh, my body loves protein, so I eat more protein and less carbs. But, so a palm of protein at every meal for a woman and 2 palms per meal for men. So this is for like meat, right? But when it comes to beans, like a half a cup of dry beans. Or if you're doing a protein shake, it's just like a scoop.
Serving.
1 scoop for women, 2 scoops for men, or a scoop and a half.
Yeah.
Depending on what's going on. If you've had a really active day, then add more protein. So.
Yeah, I love that strategy. That's a great strategy. But right, it's important. A palm-size serving of protein-dense food. So we're thinking animal, something that had a face at one point.
Yeah.
Right? We're not talking about your protein peanut butter or your protein granola. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about animal protein.
Yeah, if you're going to eat some nuts or something, then use your thumb, right? Or a tablespoon. Your thumb is about a tablespoon. So go for, if it's nuts or some kind of fat, then 1 thumb.
Okay.
1 or 2 thumbs.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think I like how we've broken it down. We kind of have 3 different levels, right? Depending on how advanced you want to go. We've got, if you are a numbers person and you have a spreadsheet with all your data and how many grams you're eating per day.
Weigh your food.
Then weigh your food and, shoot for that. If you're active, shoot for that 1.4 to 2 grams, per kilogram of body weight.
Yeah.
If you're maybe not quite that intense about it, then just shoot for 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal. And if you really want to simplify it, if you're a guy, just shoot for 2 palm-sized portions of protein at every meal to start out. And if you're a woman, try to just start out with 1 palm-sized serving of protein-dense food per meal.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
And then some people like to use their plate. They find that helpful. So I would still go with the palm, get a palm of protein, put it on the plate, or maybe like 1/4 to 1/3 of your plate, and then fill the other half with vegetables, please.
Veggies. Get your veggies. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Don't fill it with carbs.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
I think we've got most of it. Oh, another thing to remember is your body cannot store protein. So, and it's really tough to overeat. Some people fear that they might get too much protein. There is a myth out there that says if you overeat protein, that your kidneys will fail.
Yeah.
That is a myth.
It's like borderline you would vomit before you ate enough protein to make that happen.
It's nearly impossible.
That doesn't happen by accident.
No. It's So don't worry about that. It's really tough to eat too much protein. So just chase protein, even at your snacks. Like if you're going to have a mid-afternoon snack, I know everyone loves to have their mid-afternoon snack. They reach for the Cheez-Its or whatever. Plan to have a protein, right?
Yeah.
And beware of the little protein packs in the grocery stores and in the in the convenience stores. They'll have these little thing called protein packs, and they'll have cheese, it'll have salami,
nuts,
and nuts.
Yeah,
those are all fats.
Yeah,
those are all fat foods. Very, very satisfying, and nothing wrong with eating them. Just know that you're eating a fat with a little bit of protein as a bonus.
Yeah.
So always, but I would advise having a little protein with your afternoon snack, because that will be much more satisfying than trying to fill up on carbs.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
well, hopefully this was helpful, guys. Hopefully you got some guidance as to how to incorporate more protein into your day-to-day and why protein is important.
It is the most important nutrient.
It is the number one.
Even more important than vegetables.
What?
Yes,
Yeah. Well,
even
yeah,
more
because
important.
your body needs it for everything.
Yeah,
So.
definitely.
All right, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. We will see you next time.
All right, bye-bye.